Hello, I wanted to talk to you today about how we do bearings. So the first few and really important points on this topic are what I call the 4 always measure rules. And the first of those is that with bearings we always measure clockwise. So we always measure clockwise. So from any point we measure clockwise. We always measure where we're saying we're going from. And that's because we need to make sure that we start at the beginning. There's no point in measuring somewhere that we're going to. We measure where we're going from. So we're standing looking at our map and we're leaving from here, so we measure from here, okay? And the next one, we always measure from north. And that's really important too, so that we always know exactly where we're starting and how far around we're going. So we start where we're going from north, clockwise. And then the 4th always measure rule is that we always measure with 3 digits. And that's because in the olden days, when they used to start, or when they started using bearings, the maps were often sea charts, and it was really important that we knew that we had the whole information and that we were measuring the right way, because water obviously on an inked map means that you end up sometimes with drops missing and numbers missing. So to make sure that you had everything that you needed, we always use all 3 digits, and that way we know that we've got the whole bearing. So let me show you. We always measure clockwise from north, where we're going from, and with 3 digits. So we're going to go from any town to Beauville. The first thing we do is we draw on a north line. And on any map, north will always be directly upwards. So we always draw our north line from the town we're going. And then we draw in a straight line to where we're going. You'll have to imagine that straight. We always draw a nice straight line in to Beauville. And it's always useful to draw a second north line at the point that you're going to as well. But we're going from any town to Beauville, so we're going to measure our bearing from any town. And we do that with a protractor. Now, if I were in my classroom, I'd have my nice big board one. Unfortunately, I'm not. So we've got a little diddy protractor here, but it works in exactly the same way. So just like with any protractor, I'm going to put the cross in the middle on the point that I want to measure, and I'm going to line up one side with the north line. So I'm going to put the 0 on there, line up, and it's always the 0 I use that's the one that's been lined up. So there's here a 0 and a 180, but I'm going to use the 0 at the top because that's the line that I've measured and I've lined up. So measuring around from there to here, I actually am going 70 degrees. So if I were just measuring the angle, I'm going to drop that, like an ordinary angle, that would be a 70-degree angle. But because it's a bearing and because rule number 4 says we always use 3 digits, that's going to be called, we're going to call that 070 degrees. 3 numbers, 3 digits, okay? 070 degrees. So the bearing of Beauville, from any town, excuse me, is 70 degrees. Okay, what about my journey home then? So this time I'm in Beauville and I want to go back to any town. So I'm going to look at my map and I'm going to use my bearing, and I have to measure all the way around because I have to measure from north clockwise. So we're going this way around our angle from north clockwise, where we're going from. So now we're going from Beauville, we're measuring here. We're going to go 180 to there. Where are we? Let's mark that. And then I have another 70 add onto there, so that's 250 degrees all the way back. Okay? What you can see is that actually these two numbers don't add up to 360, and often students are expecting that they will, because it feels like in a whole circle we should have 360 degrees, which we know. But what you can tell, or what's nice to see, and you can happen, I'm going to do it in a slightly different colour, is that you can, if you extend your north lines, you'll see that we end up with two parallel lines, because they're both going from south to north, they're parallel lines. And as a result, all our rules about angles in parallel lines will apply. So this angle here, or this group of angles here, this angle and this one, are what we call co-interior angles. They're angles that add up to make 180 degrees. So if this one here is 70, this one here must be 110 degrees to add up to make the 180 in those co-interior angles. Equally, we can see that we've got what we call alternate angles. If I draw those in a different colour again, nice bright pink perhaps, you can see along here that this bit must be 70 degrees. I've not put a 0 because it's not a bearing, that is an actual angle. Because this is 70 degrees here, we know that this alternate angle must be 70 degrees as well. We know that that's a straight line, so that's 180. 180 plus the 70 does give us 250. So there are other ways that you can sometimes work out the angle and the bearing to get home without having to measure it. Okay?